In early 2005, Apple stripped away the screen, the radio, and the complex menus to release the first-generation iPod Shuffle. It was an exercise in extreme minimalism. Apple's extreme minimalism left a massive gap in the market. Power users wanted a portable device, but many still required the basic utility of an FM tuner or a voice recorder, features Apple had scrubbed away in favor of aesthetics. A Taiwanese electronics manufacturer named LuxPro recognized that gap. Later that year, they arrived at the CeBIT trade show in Germany with a direct answer to Apple's original design. They called it the Super Shuffle. As this photograph from the time shows, the device was a pixel-perfect replica of Apple's Player. It had the exact same dimensions, the same white plastic casing, the same removable cap, and an identical circular control pad. When a competitor replicates a hardware design this precisely, it forces a company like Apple to defend the visual identity of its brand, rather than the technical patents of its components. Apple's legal team struck immediately. Before the CeBIT show even finished, they served cease and desist orders and forced the LuxPro devices off the exhibition floor. Apple claimed a violation of trade dress, a legal concept protecting a product's visual identity. They argued LuxPro intentionally mimicked the physical look of the iPod to siphon Apple's brand equity. By July 2005, Apple filed a devastating injunction in the Taiwanese courts, effectively halting LuxPro's ability to manufacture or sell the players entirely. While the injunction looked like a simple case of stopping a clone, the technical reality of the Supertangent was far more complex than its plastic shell suggested. LuxPro's first survival tactic was a quick rebrand to the Supertangent. Then they took Apple to court, arguing that their exterior form wasn't stolen. It was simply the necessary shape required to house their internal functions. This Swedish review reveals what LuxPro packed inside. The Supertangent featured a full-band FM radio tuner, integrated Dictaphone hardware capturing 72 hours of voice recordings, and native drag-and-drop USB mass storage compatibility across Windows, Mac, and Linux. LuxPro engineered all of these additional features into a chassis that maintained the exact same 24-gram weight footprint as the original iPod Shuffle. Consumers clearly wanted this hardware. When LuxPro managed to run a retail trial of 7,000 units in Canadian stores, the entire inventory sold out immediately. The Supertangent provided a functional alternative to Apple's locked ecosystem. It demonstrated that a lightweight, screenless player could include radio, voice recording, and native file management without increasing its size. Armed with this technical defense, the legal tide began to turn. Rulings from both the Taiwanese High Court and the Fair Trade Commission swung entirely in LuxPro's favor. The judiciary found that the additional functional features and the distinct internal engineering made the Supertangent a legally differentiated product. LuxPro then launched an incredibly aggressive counteroffensive. They crossed the Pacific and filed a $100 million federal countersuit against Apple in a U.S. court in Texarkana, Arkansas. The filings accused Apple of operating a multinational scheme to illegally monopolize the portable media market. They detailed tactics like bullying by proxy, where Apple allegedly pressured distributors like Aces to drop LuxPro's products. By 2008, LuxPro had been legally exonerated. Their hardware's technical superiority was documented, and they were actively pursuing Apple for damages in a U.S. federal court. The timeline shifted to 2007. The injunctions were officially cleared, and LuxPro finally possessed the legal right to manufacture and sell the Supertangent globally. But their hard-fought legal victory contained a fatal flaw. 2 years of litigation had passed, consumer demand had evaporated, and the original rectangular form factor they fought to defend was entirely dead. This photograph shows what Apple's hardware division was actually doing during those 2 years of courtroom delays. They had entirely moved on, releasing a tiny, silver, second-generation iPod Shuffle that rendered the old white plastic sticks obsolete. Massive corporations can use the legal system to manipulate time. By plotting Apple's rapid product cycles against the flat bar of LuxPro's 2-year legal battle, it becomes clear that the lawsuit simply outlasted the hardware's relevance. Tying a smaller manufacturer up in a legal labyrinth drains their operating capital. It freezes their inventory and forces them to miss the narrow market windows where their product actually has value. If a tech giant has the capital to indefinitely pause your product's timeline, they never actually need to win the lawsuit to win the market.